Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm really glad you're here. Today's date is Saturday, November 18th, 2023. And a warm welcome to my furry co-host, Chloe. And Alieska is just off camera. So they've both been trying to get in on this read already, even though it hasn't even started. What I wanted to do today was look at something that may be of importance to the citizens of the United States of America and to the American political landscape, because Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has kept one of his promises and announced that he was going to be releasing all of the J6 footage for every American that's interested to see. I think something that should have been done long ago if there was truly a desire to have events be known and facts to be ascertained and good judgments to be made. Well, let me take you to a very short compilation I made that does include where you can view those tapes for yourself. And just a little note, they're not all out yet. Apparently they're going to be bringing them out a few at a time. So, because there's thousands of hours of footage. So I hope that public interest remains throughout to view them and see more about the events of that day and to make up their minds for themselves what happened, what didn't happen, and as a result of those events, what should happen. But let's take a look at my compilation and then we'll see if the universe wants to weigh in on what the possible outcome is going to be for these disclosures that are, in my opinion, Laura's view, long overdue. Okay, the reason I included this social media posting by Mr. T was that he's got the address here that you can look at. It is a government address, so it's a good link. So there should be no issues with anybody with me sharing this. And then the social media post from Mike Johnson that just announced that he was keeping his promise to the American people and making all the J6 tapes available to all Americans. And then some, this is on the right side of the aisle. So it is a conservative meme, but it does mention that so far we already know that there has been destruction of exculpatory evidence. That fictitious audio was inserted into the footage, that key witnesses like the chief of Capitol Police were avoided, that the committee, the J6 committee, removed Republicans, and they televised the hearings on prime time to influence public sentiment. That is all true. Now, my personal thought is we should all be glad that these are being made public, no matter what our politics are, because truth is important. It should be important to no matter where your particular political leanings are. Let's see what the universe wants us to know. I'm going to be asking respectfully, and for this timeline, the rollout of the video footage of J6. We'd like to have insights and information about what possible, there went my phone. It's like living with little kids sometimes. Okay, so we're going to be asking what the possible insights and information about the possible effects and results that these disclosures and making this information available to everybody interested in public will be. So let's find out together. I'm going to change the camera angle so you can watch me work with the cards, and we'll see what the universe has to say. We're going to find out together. 1 second. Insights and information about the outcome of this footage that's being made available to the public. Will it change anything in the political landscape or mainstream American mindset? Just insights and information about this situation that is beginning to unfold with some disclosures and public access to the information. Okay, our first card is the Four of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, King of Wands, Nine of Wands, or Swords, pardon me, Two of Wands, and the Temperance card. Okay, we'll look at the, I'm going to give you some idea of the insights I'm getting from the cards, and then we're going to look at elements in the cards that led me to say those things. Okay, well, first of all, this is a happy development, very much so. The disclosure of the tapes is indicated by the Four of Wands, which is a card of celebration, connection. There's just no bad way to read this card, not at all. Now, the clarifying here is the clarifying card for the Four is this one. What I'm getting is, first of all, this is a good event. It's going to open some eyes if people are willing to have their eyes opened. You know, we can't force them to. But for those that were on the fence or unsure or had maybe heard something that they really gave some credence to, like, hey, we discovered they added audio of screams and stuff to the video to make it more alarming. If they got curious, now they can satisfy that curiosity for themselves. As for changes on the political landscape, not as much as we would hope, but I do think there are going to be some congressmen or people on that select committee who announce that they're not going to be seeking re-election, that they need to spend more time with their family. Don't get an idea of who it is, but I do think there'll be more than one that makes an announcement of that sort. So let's take a look at the cards again and look here. So the J6 situation here, the tapes are rolling out slowly, so that's why they're not all revealed out. The ones that have been have already given us some interesting information. There was a gentleman who got his cuffs removed and fist bumped the officer, walked away. There were obviously law enforcement people on site that didn't look alarmed, that were just standing there or even escorting people through the building. So it's, you know, there's more to come, but what we've seen so far has really not supported it was a horrible situation and there was so much danger and trauma and what have you. It's just not yet supported. It may be as time goes on. I don't think it will be personally, but it may be. And we'll be able to make up our own minds because we will be able to look at the footage ourselves. Yay. Now, in the recent past, we've got the Eight of Swords. Again, this is saying that even before this, if people were willing to see, they could have seen more than they were choosing to. Okay, so as always, it will be up to the individual to decide if they want to change their opinion, amend their opinion, or are even willing to consider other information. So hopefully people don't have their minds so firmly made up one way or the other that they're not willing to layer in some new evidence and go, oh, well, gee, if we all didn't have that capacity, we'd still be believing in the childhood fictions that we had. So we all have that ability. We just kind of turn it off sometimes. The King of Wands is the current situation. Beautiful card, because this is a card of wisdom and honor and leadership. Really good card to have here. So again, people are going to be allowed to make up their own minds about the footage that they see. The situation that they've been programmed to believe was one way and may have very well been another, or even a way that hasn't been discussed. And they'll be able to make up their own minds. And it was a good decision on the part of Mike Johnson to follow through with his promise to release that information to us. I wish it was in a massive dump and all at once, but I'll take what I can get as long as it all comes out. Looking ahead, okay. If you're worried that the videos are going to reveal further shenanigans on the part of people that consider themselves patriots, you don't really have to worry about that. In fact, the worry is going to be on the part of those that were paid provocateurs, and that's as it should be. Because if they were there because they were paid to incite or direct the flow of events, they should have something to worry about. But the vast majority of people there were there in a place of just sincere concern and patriotism, and they have nothing to worry about. Now, the further insight card, here's an insight and information come along here. With the Two of Wands, there's going to be a lot of us able to look at things in a very new way. Absolutely. So there are going to be some people that change their mind, not as many as we hope. We need to keep our expectations moderate as far as the results of this. Do I see some resignations happening, or the I need to spend time with my family announcements? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do see that there's going to be some disclosures. More is going to be coming out about those who were paid provocateurs, and that is as it should be also. That is where the true accountability should be. Let's get a couple more cards. This is an important question. Although we only currently have one major arcana showing up, it's still important to the American political scene as long as it stays the way it is. I'm hoping that changes really soon in a wonderful way, but while it is, this is the information for that. Queen of Pentacles showing up. And the Hermit. Okay, second major arcana showing up. Okay, the Hermit is shining a light here on the King of Wands card, the card of vision and honesty, and that's really, really good. And then the Hermit card himself typifies some divine oversight. So there's been need for a correction, for disclosures, for honesty, and that need has been, and that cry for that has been, had some response. You know, last month, my monthly meditation was just about this sort of thing, about that we were ready for some truth, for some disclosures, and now we're getting them. So the intentions and positive work that light workers were doing to see that come about, this is one of those results. So kudos to everyone who's been saying, it's time, it's past time for some honest information to be out there, for some disclosures, for some truth. And I love it. Moon card showing up. And then the Two of Pentacles. Moon card is just reminding us we're still, even with all the disclosures coming out, there's still going to be a couple things happening. First of all, there's some people with their dying breath are going to claim that they were traumatized and it was a horrible event. And they're going to deny any responsibility in fomenting the activities that happened the day, you know, funding the ghost buses or whatever it might be. Okay, but and we've been told that's okay. It's going to roll out, but the results might not be as much as we hope for, but there will be results. Absolutely. And it's getting clearer and clearer that there's one side or the other, you know, on this. This is one of those situations where there's really not a shade of gray. It really is black or white. Were you there? What was your intent there? What were your actions there? Black or white? And there's going to be some of that coming out. Yet. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, has announced that he is going to be releasing all of the J6 footage. The American public, if they're interested, can look at it for themselves. Laura's view is this is a fabulous development that's long overdue. And I would think that any loving person that wants to get to truth and know about events and not be told what they were, but to see for themselves would be celebrating this development. So we asked about it. What's going to be the result? Now, it was interesting. Didn't get the Justice card, didn't get the Judgment card. So the information's a little more subtle than that. First of all, but the situation was shown by the Four of Wands, which is a beautiful card. So this is a happy circumstance that this is coming out. It's timely. It needed to happen, and it's going to have some really good results coming from it. Just a reminder that the footage is not being released in one huge massive dump. It's coming out in stages. So yeah, we've got a partial reveal. There's more to come, and it will all be equally interesting as it comes out. The recent past card told us that there was already an ability to have some information if you were willing to see and look, that you could. The information was enough was there to get an accurate view of what happened or didn't happen that day in those events, if people so chose. The whole issue and event of these videos being made available to the public is because of some honorable leadership. So I'm not saying that's Mr. Johnson, but it was a wise decision. It was one that was done from someone that truly has some leadership skills, and said, you know, we don't need to be spoon feeding opinions. We need to be giving people information. All right. The near future card was kind of interesting. There are some people that are going to have to do some worrying, like the people that were on the ghost buses. More on that soon. But and we may see some resignations from, especially with that J6 committee, or the announcements that are not quite a resignation. I won't be seeking re-election. I want to spend more time with my family, something like that, maybe coming for some of those people, especially if they had any part in layering in sound effects or things like that, and not presenting, you know, accurate and untampered with information to people that were charged with making fair decisions on events. As a result of this, for the time that the American political landscape is the way it is, and I look forward to that changing, and not from anything evil, but just from our world changing and us going to more representation and not a behemoth of government. But even then, in the interim till then, we're going to be looking at things in a new way, and people are going to have that opportunity to look at events in a way for themselves, and to get more accustomed to that, making up their own mind, reviewing information. And if we didn't have that, like I said, if we didn't have that, okay, we didn't have the ability to layer in new information, there'd be a lot of grown-ups that were still leaving teeth under the pillow for the tooth fairy. Okay, so we have that ability. It hasn't been nurtured. In some cases, it's been turned off, but it needs to be honored. And for those that are willing to use it, they need the opportunity. Now, we're told to not have overly high expectations of results of this. We already know, for example, with that certain flight log, we still haven't seen the client list or seen any in the public eye consequences for that. So this may be similar in some ways, but we are going to see some resignations. And there are some people that are going to be doing two things: changing their mind about the events of that day and getting more accustomed to layering in new information and revising opinions or initial impressions. And that is a really good outcome, even though it's not quite directly, it's a life skill. It's an ascension skill. It's not necessarily a political one. Okay, we have some divine help with this. Those who were doing prayers and positive intention for some disclosures, for some truth to come out, this was our answer to that meditation, to those prayers, to those intentions of ours. Good job, team. Absolutely. Queen of Pentacles just letting us know that there was a reward. This was our reward for that. Those of us that did that, there's more to come. And it will become more and more common that information is just simply laid out for people to make up their mind about. That must mean that there's something happening soon with the media in an obvious way. I hope so. Now, the final cards, so these are the least insightful, were these two. And the Moon card talks about, usually it's about dishonesty. So there's going to be some people to their dying breath that claim that they were traumatized and forever, you know, they're not going to admit that they funded or authorized ghost buses or whatever it might be. So we need to be aware of that. But there's sort of karma to pay for that. That is going to happen. And the situation is still unfolding. While we can't expect a full about face in things, there are going to be people that change their mind. There are going to be people that finally see some justice in one way or the other. And that'll be fun to see. That's it for this video. Okay, tomorrow is the 19th, and I am hosting a meditation. This one, we're going to be looking at things that we're kind of thankful for, or just being proactive about. For example, if you have been following alternative sites for information and you've lost friends or family for that, we need to be mentally gearing up for, in the holidays to come, focusing on the similarities we have with people and getting as much joy and happiness out of those similarities as we can. And then when Uncle Joe says, you still doing that conspiracy stuff? You can say, well, I call it truth seeking, but yeah, and move on. So we're going to be giving some thanks. We're going to be proactive in kind of planning how to get the most joy and happiness out of the coming days and weeks and season to come. And you are welcome to join us. It's non-denominational and any positive energy is always welcome. It will be at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time, which works out to 7:00 London time. And if you go to the announcement on my YouTube page about that, I do have a time and date converter that you can look to see if, for your time zone when that might be. So I hope to see many of you there. It will be a live stream, 2:00 on YouTube, unless I get in trouble in the next 24 hours and then boom, going over to the site that rhymes with Bumble and we'll do it there. So until next time, I thank you so much for your time, for your attention. I wish for you all things light, all things bright, and lots of love on top of all of that. Bye.